Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your audience.
Thank you very much. I'm so delighted to be here. I'm so proud to be in this wonderful company of distinguished engineers. I have to confess, once upon a time I was an engineer, but I wasn't really distinguished. So one day maybe I'll make it into your ranks. What I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is just tell you a little bit about myself, just very quickly, just if I explain, but all this, the bits which are not necessarily published. So just to understand where I'm coming from, I started a business called Pentacle about 20-odd years ago. And the reason was because I realized that I was in education. And a pentacle, do you know the pentacle? Are you okay to be interactive? Yeah. You know the pentacle, the funny shape? Yeah, okay. And you see it in all those scary movies. They always draw it on the ground, and they do magical things. And when they dance around the pentacle, ghosts come. Have you seen those? Okay, great. But it basically is a symbol of perfect knowledge. It's a symbol of what you guys represent, which is trying to understand more, get better information. But perfect knowledge, that's what a pentacle is. And because it's perfect knowledge, it has power. Are you interested? Okay. And it has power to do either good or evil. And that, to me, was always really interesting. Because in this phase of mankind, we actually have a hell of a lot of power from all the information we have. And the question is, what will we do with it? How will we bring it to life? How will we use it? But what I want to focus on is hiding that message inside. I want to focus on how do you accelerate digital transformation. But the reason I told you that message first is because we have to make a deal. As I help you to learn how to accelerate digital transformation, you have to promise to swear not to use your new powers for evil. No, I'm serious. You have to promise, otherwise I can't teach you anything. So it's either hand on heart and promise, or you have to put your fingers in your ears for the next hour. Which one are you going for? Somebody with their fingers in their ears. Okay, guys. Great. So what I'm going to do also is I'm going to do something rather strange, which is I'm going to try and live what I'm talking about. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to try and demonstrate how, at least in my life, my world works. The other thing I haven't told you, which could be interesting, is I spend half of my life as an avatar. So this presentation is coming from the cloud via my virtual business school environment to you. When I told, where is he? One of your digital experts, I said, I'm really worried because my presentation's on the cloud. And he said, that's a risky strategy. It really creased me out because here we are selling our digital's the future. And then the presenter says, I'm going to go digital. I go, gee, are you crazy? So I sort of started my digital journey a while ago. I started it, quite by accident, about the same time as a chap called Steve Jobs started working with something called an Apple Newton. I don't know if you've come across that or not. You're probably realizing I'm wearing a wearable as well. So I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. So if it comes out rubbish, okay, forgive me. But, most of us, we think about Steve Jobs, and he's a fascinating guy, changed the world and all the rest of it. But I started the same time as this Apple Newton, trying to create virtual learning environments for transforming companies. So I can tell you with absolute certainty that I am a really bad businessman in comparison to him. And I can give you to decimal places. I think it's 1.2 million, 732.8 times worse a businessman. I'm joking, but I'm serious. Okay, so I'm a really rubbish businessman. So my idea for the journey, if it's okay with you, is I want to, how should I do best? I know what I'll do. I want to take you through a number of steps. We have as our topic this whole area of how to accelerate the change. Okay, so that's what we're going for in terms of the process, separating the noise. It's a magic word, digital transformation. When I was a young tutor, I worked at a place called Ashridge, and I learned something which you guys being engineers would not know, but marketeers know this. There are these things called magic words. They are just magic. We would have a really rubbish, project or strategy course. Nobody wants to buy it. It's just a rubbish course, okay? And then we'd call it innovative project delivery. Now we could charge 3 times as much. Nowadays, the way the magic words are things like agile. You go, agile, innovative projects, We will pay 4 times as much. Then you add the magic word, digital, and you're going to make bucks. So there's something wrong. Because it's a magic word, everyone jumps on the bandwagon, and they forget what we were setting out to do. So my plan, if it's okay for you, is just to take you through 5-ish steps, roughly in this sort of sequence. So the first one is a little bit of an explanation of why digital transformation. It'll be short, because you're probably going to tell me the reasons anyway. Okay. Then we'll go from there quickly into what are the sort of the myths people have and what's the sort of confusion around it. Okay. And then from there we'll go into, well, okay, if that's the case, what are we supposed to actually change to? What's the game? And then from there we'll probably go into how do we make it happen? And then we'll finish off with you. And how do you lead as distinguished engineers to make something happen? Is it a good plan? Now, this is the plan I put together before I met you. So it might be good, it might be rubbish. But we're together, and you said you're happy with interaction. My job for you, you have 2 minutes. No, minute and a half. You're going to work in groups of 3. You're going to have a discussion. You are going to imagine that the next 40 minutes of the presentation is fabulous. You learn, I don't know how to engage people, how to move faster. I don't know what it is, but it's fabulous. What are your greatest hopes? What do you want to get from the session? You see there's a card like that which says hopes? Okay, great. Then the second question, I want you to imagine that the session is dreadful. What are your greatest fears? What don't you want me to waste your time on? So your hopes, what you're hoping you'll get from the session, which will make it the best session of your life, and your fears, the things you don't want me to do, which will waste your time. Minute and a half, I'll collect the first 5 or 6, and we build our shared agenda digitally, together. I use the word digitally. It's not digital, but it sounds good. Okay? Great. Over to you. 3 minutes. In trios, and not on your own. Great. Okay, let's go. So, should we start with the fears first? What don't you want me to waste your time on? Just shout. Mark. Greatest fear is marketing. I would never have guessed engineers would have a fear of marketing. Okay. Anything else? Sorry, missed that? Commercial. Okay. So you guys, within Fujitsu, you sort of get the funding for your projects from where? Moving rapidly onwards. Yes, what else? Small text. You can't read. It's not for you, it's for me. I'm not, all this customer human-centric stuff, I don't do it. I do person-centric. Okay, keep going. Sorry? Acronym hell. What does HELL stand for what? Okay, so HELL. Okay, I got it. And finally, the last thing you don't want me to do is? That was stereo. Go on. Something. The internet goes down. Ah. Yes, that happens. Did you have what? Ah. Well, let's just shorten my presentation by 15 minutes. Okay, Airbnb. And the things you actually would like me to cover, please. Hopes. What do you want? Any particular areas about changing, moving faster, transforming, getting this digital thing in your head, in your clients' heads? The reality is quite scary. I was just joking with your friend from the US, and I was saying, I did TED Talks, as Joseph said, and the guy who runs TED is a chap called Chris Anderson. And basically, he's written a book on the formula of how to do a TED Talk. Okay, he explains how to do it. So, once you've written the book, guess what? You have the algorithm. Yes? Once you have the algorithm and you have a couple of data libraries and some image libraries, guess what? I'm obsolete. Isn't that interesting? And most people will tell you that being a presenter and stuff like that is really... No, it's not true. We're all obsolete. We're already obsolete. We just don't know it yet. And people would put me in that category which we were hearing about of, jobs which are hard to replace. No, I've been replaced. So the truth of the digital transformation is quite scary. I'm working on the assumption that being engineers, you're sort of level-headed people and you won't run out of the room screaming as if your hair is on fire. Okay, so I'll be straight with you. Okay, I'll tell you. No, I'll lie to you. Look, it's all okay. You don't have to change anything. Okay, great. Anything else you want? How to communicate complexity. I'll do that. A lot of the new technologies, you'll know, people just don't know what you're talking about. It's great. You go into a meeting, you say, yeah, well, blockchain, and you just throw it into the conversation. And everyone else goes, blockchain, 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 blockchain. And then after a while you go, so blockchain, how does it work? Great. Give me another one. You want it or you don't want it? How to get organizational change. Okay, let's go for that. How to get organizational change. Great. Okay, I'll do that. Fabulous. So I won't do marketing. I won't talk too much about money, but I will a bit because it's important. I won't do acronyms for you. The internet will be fine, and I have a dongle. And Airbnb will not be mentioned, except at the end as a joke. Okay, so where should we start? The best place, I think, to start is a quick précis of the past 50 years in 30 seconds. Can you keep up with me? If your native language isn't English, don't worry. Just laugh at the joke, okay? So, here we go. This is the past, okay? On this axis here, we have things. One of the things we have is people. Number of people on the planet, more now than there were before. At the same time, we have Moore's law. So when you look at the technology, faster now than it was before. At the same time, you have governments who are realizing they have to do different things in a different way. So once upon a time, they said, no, we don't want any change. Let's have everything the same. Now they're all actively seeking change. At the same time, you have everybody living in cities, more than 60% of them, which means that they're all interacting with each other, watching each other's Facebooks and hearing about each other's stories. So when one person acts, another person reacts. At the same time as that's happened, everyone's connected and all the trade flows are global and the financial flows are global. So when one person makes a mistake in one country, it ripples all the way around the world. Brexit. Yeah? Okay. Guys, how are these 2 points joined together? Is it a straight line? Curves upwards. Okay, that's the easy part. Well done, you passed. Now the hard part. Do you remember the days when you could forecast, when you could see what was coming before it came, when you used to do budgets and they made sense a year out? Do you remember those days? Now before the ink is dry, they're obsolete. Has it happened to you? Okay, so once upon a time, although the world was here, we could learn faster than the world was changing. What has happened to your ability to learn and change over the same period? We'll do it together as a piece of research. I'm going to start here. 30 years ago, you could learn faster than the world was changing. You go to university, you could finish your computer science degree, and they wouldn't have upgraded and made everything you've learned obsolete before you finish the course, okay? So that's here. Now we're moving horizontally. If you want me to go up in terms of the pace of learning and change, say up. If you want me to go down, say down. Okay, we're doing this together. I'm just going horizontally otherwise. And that, guys, is our problem. This crossover point makes us blind to what's going on. If you're living in a world where you can learn fast, the world is changing, you think that what you observe and what you see is what's going on. If you're living in a world which is changing faster than you can learn, you think you're listening to the news, and the news tells you things, and you nod because you think you've understood them, and then Donald Trump. Did it happen to you? The only person I know who predicted Trump would get this far is Scott Adams, a cartoonist who makes jokes. And he did it last year. And everyone with brains are going, no, it'll never happen. That's what happens when you move to what I call the world after midnight. So that's what happens when you move to our new world. Things come out and surprise you because what you're looking for is not what you should be looking for. You understand? At the same time, the level of complexity has gone up. Because the level of complexity has gone up, it means that you're going to get what they call black swans, more surprising events. At the same time as that's happened, we've got bigger cyberspace. Imagine you wanted to visit your whole country. You could ride around on a bicycle. You could see everything. Imagine that you wanted to read everything on all your computers in the organization. It'll take you lifetimes, thousands of lifetimes. Do you understand what these things mean? This point here, that crossover point. People call it different things. Some people talk about VUCA. Some people will talk about digital. They're all describing the fact that 3 different things have come together at approximately the same time. And the 3 different things which have come together is the pace of change has been completely messed up by the pace of learning. That's one very crucial one. And if I get this right, that will be brilliant because I'll be in the right place. Yay, almost right. Okay, 3 different things. The pace of change has been left behind by the pace of learning. That's one crucial element. The other elements which also have come to life at exactly the same time are, you go to me? This one? Oh, the same one. What on earth happened there? The monsters have eaten. Complexity has gone through the roof. And if I'm really lucky, this one as well, which is connections. The difference in here and now and the virtual world. That's why I live as an avatar. Almost every day I go around the world. I have courses in Asia. I go home, I have breakfast. I have courses in America. And I go around the world. That's where I live. We shut down all our offices. We moved all our offices to virtual rooms. If you're interested, I can show you. And that's how I live my life. My team never see each other, but they're great friends. You have no idea how good a relationship can be with your boss when you never see them. Okay? So, don't think too much about it. So this is where we are in terms of our change. Now, a while ago, I speak at conferences and things like that. And a while ago, I went to, let me see if I can't find it, I will bring it up. So I told you I'll create the presentation for you live. You didn't believe me, did you? So I want this one here, which is called Tram. I went to a talk, which was, there you go, City Plaza Tram. That looks like it. Okay, there you go. Oh, no, that's not a one. That's not a tram. Okay, there you go. So this is I went to a talk, I was speaking, and I was sitting in the audience, and somebody was, a Gartner event, talking about the future. And the guy who was on before me was a futurologist, is that what they call them? And he was a smart guy. So he was explaining that, with all the devices which we have, in the future, you'll see people arriving for work. And as they arrive for work, of course, Internet of Things added an extra train carriage, so there were enough seats. And while they were sitting there, they were able to see on their phones what was going to be the day's schedule. And if they needed extra vitamins were provided for the energy. And they were wearing wearables, which allowed them to feel what their market position was. And as they approached, and of course, with their implants, they could feel how their kids were. Are they learning hard at school? So then they come off the tram, and then they walk down to the office, and the office knows they're coming. So automatically, the facilities are being rearranged to give them more tables and chairs. You with me? So, and at the same time, as they're approaching, the big data has trawled all the staff and worked out what the preferences are going to be for lunch. And all this, he described it beautifully, this future scenario. And I was sitting there going, gee, that's amazing. This is how the future will be. That's if I could travel through time, that's what I would see. And then I realized I already live with people who travel through time. The town I live and work in is a town called Beaconsfield. It's just about a couple of 100 miles south. These guys are amazing. They look just like us, but they're time travelers. You're laughing. You don't believe me. Every morning they wake up, they get dressed, and they live in houses, which are, if I can get one of their houses, I'll draw it for you, because it's always good to draw houses, isn't it? It's easy. Okay, so house like this, okay, like that. Small windows so that the smart meter works well. Okay, and they sit in these things, and they basically can do everything. They can sort of FaceTime with their families on the other side of the world. They can download YouTube. Like amazing things they can do at home, because this is what's known as the 21st century home. Okay, but every morning they get dressed, they get into a car, and they travel to this place called an office. But the office is amazing, because the office is not in the same time zone. No, it's in the 20th century. There they can do nothing they can do at home. Amazing, okay? So you would imagine they've traveled to this office to do anything other than look at a computer. But they sit there and stare at these computers. What are they doing? They do things like this amazing thing called email. It's like a letter on a horse, but different, better. Basically, I emailed you, he emails her, she bumps into him, he emails me, then we email there. After about 40 emails, we suddenly realize, we need to get together to discuss this. No one has the big picture. Because we're working in sequence. We don't collaborate with our thinking. My vision has always been that we must collaborate with our thinking. If you're going to drive knowledge for good, you bring people's brains together early. We don't collaborate. So, okay, let's have a meeting to discuss this. Bad news, we've all traveled to different offices. So what does that mean? We can't have a meeting. So we use this thing called, do you know this guy? Yeah, you probably do. Used to do telephone conference. Amazing invention. It's like that, and there's some device like this. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Okay, but basically what happens, everyone phones the same number, and they can hear each other. Miracle. So it's because people, who's their friend? People, okay. And then my definition of a conference call is one person talking, 12 people continue to do their emails. Nobody's listening, nobody's bought in, nobody's focused on anything. Net results, they get to the end of the day, nobody's bought into anything. Then they get back into these devices, into these things, and they start to travel back, and they go, well, the future's digital, it's mobile. I've got a device so I can consume content because I'm bored in the car on the way home. Those were my time travelers. Guys, do you understand the first vision, the one I showed you with the tram? They're not thinking transformation, are they? All they're doing is grabbing at potential technologies and stuffing them into how we live and work today. That is not transformation. When you do transformation, two things happen. One, the existing thing you're working with breaks. Number two, for transformation to be successful, you need scaffolding. What does scaffolding do? It holds up the existing system whilst you build a new one so you can break the old one. That is transformation. Am I making sense? Okay. So, when we talk digital transformation, I'm talking about those three things I described coming together, at the same time breaking and fixing. But people's mindsets are not in that space at all. The most common thing I try and do is help them understand where they are. As a general rule, if I'm really lucky, I'll be lucky with this. Be good to me. Life is being good to me. I should have put my glasses on, shouldn't I, really? So if you put them all together, you've seen these. These are the posh versions of my scruffy drawings, okay? Many organizations start off with the efficiency mindset. That's where they're coming from. They're thinking, how can we be more efficient? That's what their thought process is. If you go into such an organization, what you'll find is that the bulk of the people, they have these type of conversations. You know, we've already joked about, let's have a meeting to discuss this. They'll say things like, our line manager has told us what to do. We have to get sign-off from multiple levels and things like that. Do you know why they do that? This sign-off thing is quite a funny one because it goes back 400 years to when we had a Navy. Oh, you don't believe it. 400 years ago, the Navy, they had sails. You know sails? And ropes. And it's noisy at sea. So if the captain wanted to issue an order, he wants you to raise the thing, the sail. He can't just tell you. There's no communication method to get the information to the guy who needs to act. Oh, by the way, you know the difference between data and information, don't you? You're pro. Yeah? You do? I need to check. Because people start talking big data and trying to use data and questions and stuff, and they don't know what the difference. Okay, 42. Is that data or information? Which one? Data. 40. It's the answer to everything. Okay, 42 years. Is that data or information? Yeah, you're not so sure. 42 years old. Is that information or data? That's information. Only if you ask me, how old are you, Eddie? At which point I say 42 years old. Data plus question, then we get to information upon which we can act. You with me? The problem is I'm not 42 years old. So although it's information, it's the wrong information, and when you act, you'll get it completely wrong. This is the challenge we have. So the captain wants to tell the chap to some information so he can act. So he issues an order. He says, lash the yardarm to a crew kringle. Message goes to the first officer who hears the message, passes it down the line. Have you heard this thing, line? Okay. Pass the yardarm to crew kringle, pass it, and gets the guy doing the work. Then he unties the knot, and he has to report back. Have you heard of this expression in other companies called report back? You've come across it. Amazing. Okay, so he reports back. Yardarm last, all the way back up the chain of command till here when the captain says, raise the mainsail. You got it? Great. And that's why these organizations, no, we don't want to quit. How did you get there? See, this is funny. This one's funny. When we talk about leadership, one of the things which we'll talk about is people building technology they don't use. So the wearable, which I've got on my arm, doesn't have a local on-off switch. Crazy. And it reads the nerves in your hand. And so have you noticed I'm right-handed? Have you noticed which hand I'm wearing it on? Why? Because otherwise, every time I came and shook hands with you guys, it would fire off the computer. All I can say is, in the company which made this technology, nobody from the junior person to the top level has used their own technology. Amazing. Do you see what I mean? We'll come and understand this, because you as distinguished engineers, you're going to have to get in there, get your minds dirty and get your hands dirty and tell people and teach them. Anyway, so organizations like this exist, but we shall skip them because that's not you. But when you come across organizations like this, when they start to talk about anything to do with digital, they talk about apps. That's all they can ever think about. So a quick poll. How many apps do you have on your computer, on your phone? I'll put my hand, put your hand up, and then we'll count from and look around you. So more than one. More than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Some people got 90 apps on their phones. Fabulous. Okay. Another one. How many apps do you use daily? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Look around you, it's all gone. Do you understand mobile real estate? That's what these guys spend their money on. It's completely pointless. It's not going to change anything. That's not transformation. If you hear a company like that, if they're your clients, you need to get them to learn. You need to get them to understand where they're going. But if you go too far, they'll just think you're nuts, because they don't even understand why they need to change. This is another one. And I thought I'd have an all-female audience, so I chose this particular one. It's a joke. It's a joke. You're all engineers. You're men. Okay. But you know how when you're going out sometimes, your other half will say to you, can't you smarten up? Haven't you got a new handkerchief or something like that? And you try and make your old suit look a little bit more modern, new shirt or something like that. This is called accessorizing. Other companies, they think digital transformation is about buying everyone an iPad. You know, and we all got iPads. If only we could get them to use them, we'd really be transformed. What happens is they completely misunderstand. They think transformation is about just bolting things on, adding things on. Nope. Nope. When you're transforming, your house turns into a bowling alley. You with me? It's not, we stuck a couple of bowls on the, no, it's a different thing altogether. I'm not interested in that. This is another area which you'll find organizations in which is quite funny. This is a horse-drawn carriage, as you can see on the left. This one is a horseless carriage. Have you come across this technology? Good technology. Okay. But when they bring out the horseless carriage, unfortunately, the guy in the back here is pissed off. Why? Because he spent money on the horse. And he's trained up this staff member. And he has to pay him pension. So what does he do? He gets really annoyed. I could do something about this. So what they usually do is they take the horse and they put it back on the front of the carriage. No, I'm joking. But you'll find that some organizations, what they spend their energies doing is actually backfilling. You know, so you go to them and you say, here's an opportunity for machine learning. And they go, well, currently we take till receipts. How can we use machine learning for sorting out our till receipts? They never step back and say, hang on, guys, why are we taking till receipts? What's this about? Or they say, currently we burn lots of energy. How can we use it for saving energy? Rather than say, hang on, guys, as long as people are traveling backwards and forwards from home to office to look at the same computer, that's 26% of our energy global consumption burnt. Why are we doing this? So they never step back. And you'll find that a lot. That is not transformation. Then you hit, am I going too fast? If I'm going too fast, tell me. Keep going. Okay. Then you hit this next one here. This is my favorite diagram. I'll share it with you because it's horrible. It starts here where it says I have a high workload. I don't know whether you can see. Obviously not you guys, nothing to do. Just chilling out in at your conference all day. So I don't have time to plan, to do, or to be creative. Net result, I don't realize how much work I'm committed to, and I've only done half. So I keep saying yes more than is realistic, which of course pushes my workload up, giving me even less time to plan or to do. So now people know I'm disorganized. They can interrupt me and get away with it. So guess what? They interrupt me. So I spend a lot of my time, guess what? Being interrupted by things which other people think are important. So I have to do it over and over again, which of course then pushes my workload even higher, giving me less time to plan or to do things. So now people know I'm disorganized. They can interrupt me and get away with it. Have you seen this happening to your colleagues at work? Just your colleagues at work. How could I know your lives before I met you? Do you understand? When you're in that bit where you're trying to change, but you haven't let go of the old stuff, and you're trying to pile new stuff on, it doesn't work. If you're serious about digital transformation, you need to have two mindsets. One mindset is, where am I going in this transformation? The other mindset is, how do I build scaffolding to keep this bit working? What are the shortcuts? What do I do? Earlier, Joseph talked about that hybrid. But the hybrid is a hybrid with an agenda which says, I'm going to survive with me and my clients, because this is really where we're heading, towards the transformation. And the other bit is just keeping the bits with the scaffolding. So this, for me, is really crucial. Whenever I see an organization and they laugh at this slide, I know that they're in that situation, like the chicken farmer who was given new technology, a car, in order to be able to work better as a chicken farmer. And he turned it into a chicken coop. But transformation is what we're after. A caterpillar and a butterfly. A butterfly is not just a caterpillar with wings. I know it's obvious, but I'll say it again. A butterfly is not just a caterpillar with wings. The core competencies of a caterpillar are what? Eating leaves, crawling around. The core competencies of a butterfly are what? Long proboscis thing for drinking nice, juicy, sugary things. Flapping. They are not the same. If you tell me you're doing transformation and your business doesn't break, you're not doing transformation. And that's where we're going to focus now and just try and think about how do we talk about transformation. So this is a challenge for all of us. And at this point, I'm going to stop. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to give you a minute in your trios just to consolidate what I've done. Then I'll do the second part, and then we wrap, because there won't be that much time for questions. So just sometimes say, yeah, I agree. He's crazy. I like that. I didn't like that. Make some notes. 1 minute has started. Over to you. Okay. Unfortunately, time beats us. Are there any questions or comments or thoughts or ahas? Are there any questions, comments, thoughts or ahas? Yes, please.
Yeah, going to our customers and saying, effectively, we need to break your business to transform it.
Yes.
It's not a scary thing.
Yes.
So how can we talk to them to get that message across without them showing us the door?
Yes, they will show you the door, definitely. So the secret is this one. They will definitely show you the door. So what happens is, the reason I was telling you these different stages is because the messages you use and the connections you make with these different customers are very different. My hobby is flying. I fly, okay? And so when I learned how to fly, one of the things which happened to me was that all of a sudden when I looked at the sky, I saw something I'd never seen before. In other words, when most people see clouds, they just go, clouds. When I see clouds, I go from the east, 15 knots, rain in 12 hours. Cirrus cloud, cumulonimbus. You with me? So if somebody who knew how to fly had come to me before I knew how to fly and said, hey, it's going to be raining in 12 hours, I'd have gone, nutter. There is no point in connecting anywhere other than where people are. It doesn't work. So the conversation you have with the people in the old world optimized one is you talk to them about their apps. You talk to them about how you can make their existing things more efficient. You can tell from what they say. The ones who are out buying stuff, you offer them some gizmos, but you know where you're taking them. You're taking them to a better business, a more sustainable, rebuilt, broken and built business. That's where you're taking them. The ones who are into, can't we just use this to do what I'm doing? Yes, that's the conversation you start off with. And then you say, and it allows you to do things which are currently impossible for you. Do you understand? So this is the not using knowledge for evil piece, because you lead them to the right place for a better future for them, for the world, for everyone else. And that's how you deal with it. Maybe one more question? Maybe one more question. Yes, please, go.
The difficulty is in getting the business to fund the scaffolding.
Yes.
Because they like the idea of the new.
Yes.
But you've got to put all us on the new and leave the old behind, but look after it.
Yes. Okay, so when you really transform, some stats. I run a virtual business school. Our productivity is probably about 10 to 20 times the equivalent for each of my tutors than a traditional school. Because for a start, when one of them, this is unusual for me, I do these because I love doing them, but when one of my tutors is teaching for 1 hour or half a day, there isn't the extra couple of hours either side preparing and traveling. It just doesn't exist. At the same time, because we're working virtually, everything gets put in one place. We have one version of the truth. So one person doesn't have to say, send me that PowerPoint presentation. They know which cubicle to go to. It's there. It's set up on the walls just for them to follow through like I'm doing here. You with me? So as you try to fund the new, you change how you work. And by becoming more effective, that's how you hide the cost in your business case. If you're completely transparent and open and they're in an old world organization, they'll be trying to cut back the costs because they don't understand what you're trying to do. Does that help? Okay, great.
There is also another problem, is the risk.
What's risk?
Risk of transformation.
No, really? Yes. Okay. Risk, two things. One is, okay.
Who's going to be held accountable? Because if you advise, and they take your advice,
yes,
things break.
Yes, things will break. Of course they'll break. Of course they'll break. There's a great TED talk by somebody who looks just like me about smart failure. It's only 12 minutes, but I can't fit 12 minutes into my cycle. Okay? But yes, it will break. Yes, there are methods you use. There's something called prelimination, which you engage people in, getting buy-in. Once people have bought in, when things start to go wrong, instead of them blaming you, they join in. When I started this presentation, I asked you your hopes and your fears, and therefore I let you take control a bit over what we're doing, and that in your heart would have made you feel more engaged. And therefore, even if I was going off track, you'd forgive me for a bit, and then you might say, actually, could you, don't tell us any more commercial things, and you'd have forgiven me. And that's how you start to do that sort of thing. But I have to move on. Great. So where I want to take you next to is the really weird part of it. And the way to start this story is with a picture which always amuses me a lot, if I can find it. The monster's eating it. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's this one here. This is a real picture, apparently, but it makes me laugh a lot. Okay? And you're laughing as well. And that tells you all you need to know about human nature. Because people have discovered things like when you give somebody technology like a Fitbit, psychologically they almost feel they've done the work already. And it's worse for them. They do actually less exercise. Now, if somebody had asked me, I could have told them that, because human beings are designed very specifically in weird ways. Number one, we're not designed for change. If you don't believe me, stop and think about it. 4.5 million years ago, okay, what did we do for a living? We did two things. We were hunters or we were gatherers. That was it. Am I right? If you woke up in the morning, you said to your other half, where are you going? I'm going out. Say, where are you going? I'm going hunting and gathering. They didn't just wave at you and say, goodbye, darling, bring some milk. They gave you a big hug. Why? Because all the other animals hunt and gather, and they're better than you. Usain Bolt can run at 26 miles an hour, fastest man on the planet. Rabbit, average rabbit, 32 miles an hour. Are you with me? Usain Bolt can't catch a rabbit. You know, your dog can bite better than you. You're going to get eaten. So how is it we arrive here and we've not been eaten? How are we eating all the other animals? When you watch Discovery Channel, they'll tell you weird things. They'll tell you things like, well, mankind used to use his big brain, let's see what I can do, use his big brain to think about new things, which would allow them to come up with better ways of doing stuff. Have you seen that stuff on Discovery Channel? So big brain, and then they'll tell you, we came up with ideas. Oh, that's the wrong color for ideas, isn't it? It should be yellow. It should be yellow. Oh, there you go. That's a better idea. Red idea is not good. Communicating through sentences, mankind could, and then they'll tell you things like, we use tools. Have you had that stuff? Okay, mankind used tools, and through their tools, they were able to work together, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll tell you other stuff like, and they worked together collectively as a team. And they'll describe some sort of tribal community where they're also hanging out together. I'll just try and draw them there with their heads like that, smiling or connecting, okay? They'll tell you this, and then they'll say, and we could work faster because we had opposable thumbs. Have you seen these things? Okay, and they'll tell you all this stuff. And of course, it's all complete nonsense. Because imagine you're out hunting and gathering, and then out of the bushes suddenly bursts, I don't know, saber-tooth tiger, you know the ones with the big teeth, bouncing towards you. As he bounces towards you looking hungry, you don't stick your thumb out and go, stop. Nor do you switch on your brain and say, hey, what's our tiger strategy? How are we going to do it? Forget that. They only had 4 tools in those days. They were called what? Big stick, big stone, little stone. Who's going to volunteer killing the tiger with a stone? Forget that. And this teamwork, the only one left. All of us together, chanting, the hunter-gatherer chant of hunt, gather, hunt, as we take that big... No, of course not. Other animals also hunt in teams. Give me some examples. Wolves, hyenas, and saber-tooth tigers. So 200 of us, and we meet 200 hungry saber-tooth tigers. Who's going to win? It's none of that. What keeps you alive is a piece of software in the back of your neck just here. That software, just one thing, it waits looking for change. It's thinking, is everything the same? Oh, sorry about, you see, this is the joy. Sorry about that, okay. No, I do not want to quit. Okay, so let me do that. Let me get rid of it, otherwise we'll jump out together. There we go, that's better. Okay, so let me zoom you in a little bit, then you'll get my lovely drawing. There you go. Okay, so the software here checks for change. And if it notices any change, what does it do? Before running. Job number 1, and this is a problem for you as distinguished engineers. Job number 1 is it takes your logical brain, the bit at the front, the one bit which you are all here because of, and it throws a huge switch, which goes ka-dunk, and it turns your brain off. Why does it turn your logical brain off? Why does it change the surprise turn your logical brain off? Because thinking is going to be too slow. Then the next thing it does is it makes you really, really scared. Why does it make you really, really, really scared? Because you're in the moment. When you're scared, you're here. You're not thinking about anything else. You don't go, I just came to myself to think about God meeting at 4. Nobody does that, okay? So then it fills you full of adrenaline, which is what you shouted over there, okay? And as the adrenaline pumps in your eyes, then you can leap, you can punch, you can do whatever you need to do. If you escape and you're not eaten, the adrenaline level comes down. Sometimes the fear level comes down. Finally, your brain switches back on and you go, look, pointy sticks all poked together. You with me? That's how we're designed. Everybody has that in their brains. If you're going to teach and share your knowledge, you don't do it through logic. You do it through connecting with people. You do it through making sure that you're passionate, because emotion travels. You come from your heart. Don't act. Come from your heart, what you give a damn about. And even if you're an introvert, just say it. People will hear it in your voice. But also in terms of digital transformation, this is the crucial element. You see, everyone thinks digital transformation is about digital. The Fitbit example was there to help you understand that it's not about digital, it's about human. So this is digital on this side over here. And this is human beings in their families with their friends over here. And this is us at the moment, not digital and really just as human beings. And this is where we're trying to get to. human beings who are taking advantage of all the opportunities of the technology. In my world, I want to connect people's brains. I'm not interested in the machines. You guys are interested in the machines. I want connected, networked human brains, connected, networked human hearts. That's my vision, okay? So we want to take advantage of all of that. What most people do is they go up the digital route. What kit can we have? And then they hit a problem, which is when they start to explain what the kit is, nobody understands it. I was joking earlier about Bitcoin. What we do in Pentacle is we create what we call nutshells. We use these things called performance enhancement tools. But it's a simple formula, a bit like the hopes and fears thing. And that allows you to explain something which is really impossible for people to understand in a really simple way. And we use images a lot and little analogies. So I just put a couple of these up here just so you could see. Come back a bit. Okay, so this is my cat. This is my cat, okay? So I say to people, I have a cat. His name is Max. Okay, oh, lovely Max, okay? And Max has got this electronic tag in his neck. He's got a wearable. Actually, it's an implantable. Cool cat. Even before me, okay? And he has this thing here. And this thing here is connected to my PC. And because it's connected to my PC, basically, my cat is part of the Internet of Things. You laugh, they get it. And we just use simple stories like that. For example, with blockchain, we have a picture of somebody riding a bike with a hub and another one with a hubless wheel. And then we say, you see, the old one, all the spokes had to go in. The new one, because of the way the data carries its own information, they can go around. And they go, ooh. And they think they've understood. And that's all they really need to understand, to be honest. Okay? But communicating, which is one of the questions you asked me, is really crucial. But again, you must do it generously. You mustn't do it from a position of, we're the experts we know, because it doesn't work. So, my final wrapping bits of the digital transformation story. Number one, it's going to break. It's probably already broken. Yeah? Number two, join people where they are. Use your knowledge to share, to teach. You will have noticed as I've worked with you, I use a very structured process of always telling you a story or giving you an example before I actually explain what it means. The reason I'm doing that is because I want us to be included together. I want us to think together. In the old world, you went in with your answer and then somebody would have a counter-argument. We haven't got time for that. And also it brings lots of bad feeling. So give them a chance to buy in, and sometimes you will learn a lot more yourself. So that's the next thing. The third one, I told you, you're going to have to get your hands dirty and you're going to have to get your brains dirty. Don't do like my wearable guys. If you are working on something, get involved. If you're doing digital, do your presentation of the cloud. It'll teach you exactly what you need to do to help your clients. As you leave the session, also remember one thing. As the world accelerates, it is less and less likely you will find challenges where you know exactly what to do and how you're going to do it. You will find challenges and opportunities where you know what to do, but not how. You know how to do it, you're not sure about the results, or you know something must be done immediately, but you're not sure even where to start. Those are scary. Those are likely to fail. But honestly, with those curves, so is doing nothing. The method we use for building business cases these days is called a gap leap. We say to people, here's a gap, difference between where you are and where you'd like to go. If you do nothing, what happens? If you fix it, what happens? Why not fixed? In the old days, we never said if you do nothing, what happens? Because the assumption was if I do nothing, it's cool. Guys, I'm going to ask you just in your trios, one takeaway of learning, and then I have a final joke, which is just a slide. It's not that funny, but it's all I have. So just 1 minute learning. What did you get from this crazy guy? Has he given us something concrete? Do we see the bigger picture? Do we understand the societal impacts, personal impacts? Recognizing that if we make all the jobs too hard for simple people, like my job, automated, society can't function. So we have to have vision to create and innovate in order to extend and connect human beings and not to replace them. I stole that from George Orwell. But your minute is... go. Minute just to consolidate. Does anyone want to say anything? Does anyone want to share anything? Given the fact we're supposed to be distinguished engineers, well, you are sharing. Does anyone want to share anything, any insight or any comment or something positive to lift our spirits and connect us? I don't want the negative stuff. Tell me that over lunch. Anyone want to share anything? You're supposed to say yes. Go on.
The comment I've got is if we chuck everything up in the air,
Yes.
only a fraction of what currently is owned by Fujitsu will actually land on Fujitsu.
Yes.
And what we have to do is collect the other bits for other people that can land on us.
That's very nice. So you have to figure out how to make partnerships work. Yeah, but you're doing that. That's why you're here. The connections between you, between universities, between each other. That's how you're going to build it. It's a good thing. No? It's a great thing, isn't it? Oh, no, I thought I got it wrong. I thought you were here just for yourselves. Okay, great. Maybe another positive, nice comment, thought. Aha. Yes?
We're discussing between us that maybe that digitalization makes us less human beings.
Yes.
And it's a fear. We are afraid. I think that digitalization has its place.
Yes.
But maybe there will be some places that it was not coming to.
Yes.
Because we are lazy men. We tend to let the digitalization, to let the machines to do everything.
Correct. That's why we need you to have the vision of where the future of mankind is, because you're creating it. My own world, the reason I built Cube was because I wanted to get senior people to be able to talk and feel like they were in the same place. So I spent all my money building this so I could connect people's minds. So it's digital, but their behavior is digitalized. When they're together, they work in a different way. So, yes, but we also know things like machines aren't good at creativity or empathy. But these days, increasingly, some human beings are also not very good at that. So we have to, no, seriously, so we have to think, you're the leaders. You guys are the guys who are going to create the future for us. So don't be neutral. Think the knowledge you have, the power you have. Create something which you'll be proud of 1,000 years from now, that you enriched mankind. Guys, I have a final joke. It's not very funny, but it'll have to do. This is about digitalization, and this is what happens basically when we finally get around to digitalizing the meditation. It says, in your mind's browser, clear your cache. Now delete your history. Now navigate to a blank page. And I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you very much. Thank you.